I'm now going to show you the ways you can read and interpret a data set of Dessa long-form scores. I have in front of me a full set from a particular after-school program that runs twice a week at 3 different school locations. Each school in this case has 2 groups, one junior with students in grades K to 3 and one senior with students in grades 4 to 7. In total, we have here 85 students in 6 separate groups. The data has been anonymized, but I've left grade and gender information so that I can show you interesting trends of score distribution across these domains. Beyond descriptive data, you also see here the 8 different competencies that the DESA form scores. These are personal responsibility, optimistic thinking, goal-directed behavior, social awareness, decision making, relationship skills, self-awareness, and self-management. The last score is a social and emotional composite score. The numbers you see here are T-scores, whereby anything above 60 indicates a strength, scores between 41 and 59 indicate a typical score, and anything below 40 indicates a need. Now that we have oriented to the spreadsheet, let's go ahead and take a deeper look to see what these data can tell us. Let's look at score distribution by school. First, let's take a look at Hollyburn School. Just going to filter so we can just look at Hollyburn. So here is Hollyburn. The distribution here is quite interesting that we're seeing here about 6 students at the top and the bottom end of the spectrum, and the vast majority of students score right in the middle, which is at a typical score. We can compare this with Lakeview's distribution, and you'll see something quite different. Here is Lakeview. So here you can see that there's practically no students in either the strength or the needs categories. And finally, we'll compare this to the George Washington School, where again, it's very different, where you can see that nearly half of the students here are in the needs category, the other half are typical, and there's only one student that has a strength. This kind of information can be very useful for the purpose of student targeting and selection and choice of activities by program providers. Next, let's take a look at the distribution of scores across other descriptive indicators. Let's go back to take a look at Hollyburn Elementary. Currently, the spreadsheet is sorted by the social and emotional composite. I'm now going to sort it by grade. And we can start to see some interesting trends in terms of where the clusters of vulnerability and strengths lie. So we can see some clustering around grade, so we can really see that the majority of the needs are clustering around grades 3, 4, and 5, and the strengths are clustering around grades 5, 6, and 7. Next, I would like to sort the spreadsheet by gender. And we can see that the majority of the strength scores are belong to female students, and the majority of the need scores belong to male students. Again, this reveals a very interesting distribution that we can look to either balance or make interesting choices in terms of our group selection and distribution. Another interesting clustering we can look at is among the different social emotional competencies. Let's go back and take a look at Lakeview again. We can clearly see that whereas the majority of students scored in the typical category for the social self management competency, the optimistic thinking category has a significant number of students who are in need. This kind of data analysis allows service providers to consider and customize activities based on the needs of the group. Another valuable question can be whether it is the intent of the program to support students from needs to typical, or whether we want to raise students from typical to strength. At this stage, our staff are conducting the first post-test measure, which is done by a short Dessa form providing only a social emotional composite score. By having numerous data collection points over the course of the year, we will hope to be able to see both individual and group progress in the domain of social emotional skill acquisition. In sum, the Dessa tool is a very powerful tool both for needs assessment as well as for tracking social emotional progress over time.